right, here we go.
Whoa.
Why food trucks?
Why food trucks?
Why food trucks?
Why not? For us or just in general?
For you guys. Why did you guys start a food truck?
Didn't have enough money for brick and mortar. No.
Yeah?
Food truck. We like the idea of street food. It's a fun way to like connect with your clients or customers. If you've worked in a commercial kitchen before, they're just hot, no windows. You never see the outside. Don't really ever get to see like, who you're serving really. So it's kind of an opportunity for like an open kitchen, a lot more interaction to the customers, new locations, special events. It's could be more like a more fun atmosphere.
It's more social.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Social media. Working in a kitchen, you don't have a lot of interaction with the customers. For most kitchens, this is like the complete opposite. It's like constant interaction.
So the alternative was to do what?
The alternative, well, most kitchens are, it's the back of the house.
You wanted to work in a restaurant?
I have worked in restaurants.
Okay.
I've worked in restaurants and working in the kitchens. I worked in a kitchen that didn't have any windows. An 8-10 hour shift without sunlight. I mean, it sounds more drastic than it is, but really, and you don't really interact with the customers. You just interact with the other employees, which is fun. But this kind of provides the cook with the opportunity to not only like get a little sunlight, but like see the customer, greet the customer, hand your food directly to the customer. Those sorts of things make it different and enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. So it's more personal.
Yeah, it's more
More fulfilling, you'd say?
Yeah, I would say it's. I don't know if it's overall more fulfilling, but I don't know, constantly throughout the day, just handing the customer the food directly, and seeing either their excitement or whatever their first initial impression. Hopefully it's a good one, and yeah, you see it directly, it's right in front of you, and you see it over and over, as many meals as you serve. So yeah, it's more fulfilling, sure.
Okay. How do you find good places to park your truck and like find good events to go to?
It's hard.
Jacob, it's hard.
It's hard to find good events, yeah. I mean, first we started off just talking to the other trucks. They're essentially your coworkers, so you like look to them to see what they've been doing, see what's worked to them. So that's where we started. Look where other people are going for lunch routes, kind of like build a lunch route base, and then you work on your night shifts and then kind of see where they were going. In San Diego, the breweries are real popular to go to, and like we started our food truck to align ourselves with like the craft beer in San Diego because we do our craft sausages, so craft beer. Doesn't take a genius to figure that one out.
Yeah.
So we had like one target where we knew we wanted to align ourselves with, and then learning from others and where other people go for like the daytime routes and the special events. I mean that's hard. I mean you have to maybe look on city calendars to see what like permits have been filed for like large events, and just look at newspapers or like the SD Reader or whatever to see this event's going to be downtown. And I think a lot of it too is just learning off your first season, because we've missed events that we didn't even know existed, but now that they're on our calendar for year 2, you can be on the ball.
And we've heard of something you can get from the Hall of Records.
Yeah.
Like a booklet that has but it's events
on public city property.
Yeah.
So like the Rock and Roll Marathon, for instance, they have
Okay.
to get a permit to do that. I mean, even a farmer's market, you have to get a permit to do that. It's on it's not a private property. It's not like Qualcomm Stadium having an event. Qualcomm Stadium can have an event anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's Qualcomm Stadium. But if you want to get streets blocked off for your marathon, you have to go through the city, and get permits for that. And then all that is public record. So they have essentially like a book, where the city streets have been occupied, those permits have been filed, and that's public record. So you can request that book from the Hall of Records.
And have you guys done that?
Negative.
No.
No, we just
Are you looking into it?
we just hear things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've looked into it, yeah. And you can
Is
go
it
online.
worth it? Like,
Oh,
do you
sure
think
it
it'll
is.
be
Yeah.
worth it to like find that information?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's no answer, like, easy answer. The answer is you just constantly out scurrying. You know, you're looking, you're talking to other owners, find out what other owners are doing. Drive around and you see big parking lots or you see events happening. You know, and then a lot of it too is you find, you know, your scene, basically. Like, we have a certain product that works well in certain settings. So we don't, you know, a kid's fair or something, we would do something like that maybe, you know. But some trucks, like the grilled cheese trucks, those sorts of things, for them, anything with lots of kids is great. You know, so depending on what your product is, you'll hone in on a sector or a couple sectors or whatever it is, and then you kind of search events around that.
Yeah, find your market.
Yeah.
You know, and know your audience. Basically, it's like this, or like radio or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy like from UTTV like told us that, like, know your audience, like go to your audience. Don't try to create new markets.
Yeah.
You know, find your already listeners and like service them, essentially. So that's kind of what we do with the breweries for sure.
Okay, and would you say you make more money off the events or just kind of parking wherever?
It's hard to, I mean, short term and long term. Like, you have your bread and butter, and those are, for us, our breweries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a lot of trucks, it's the lunch route or whatever it may be. That's your go-to that fills up your calendar and gets you through the winter season or whatnot. But then, like, the summertime, for here in San Diego at least, and probably most places, like, the big events happen, and those are like your larger days, but they're not your constant revenue. So
they don't sustain you.
Yeah.
And our first one's coming up this weekend. So
What do you mean your first one?
Amgem bike tour of California.
first major event.
That's our first.
Really? You guys haven't done a big event?
We've done we've only been out for, 4 months now. The biggest event we've done with other trucks is maybe like 5 or 6 trucks, and it would be just the normal gatherings, at a high school or downtown San Diego or something.
Yeah, I would say our biggest event was that Targa trophy.
Yeah, but that was 2 trucks, but yeah.
Yeah, there's the most people, like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you talk a bit about the food truck gatherings? Like, how do those work? How do you get into them? Is there like, just make the right connections, or?
Yeah.
You'd probably answer that one better.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you have coworkers; those are the other trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came onto the scene, it was like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? We also in San Diego have a really good website, SanDiegoFoodTrucks.com or SDFoodTrucks.com.
Mm-hmm.
So they list all the trucks, the contact information for all the trucks, as well as the gatherings that are reoccurring on a weekly basis. So we know where all the gatherings are, and then different people run them. So like in San Diego, there's Curbside Bites, there's T1O events, and they have like several locations. And then some trucks try to put on gatherings just on their own. Like Asian Persuasion, she puts on like 2 different gatherings, and like, she's trying to like, build that. So you go for different gatherings, I guess there's like different heads, and some companies, some are companies and some are other trucks. So yeah, so it probably depends on what city you're in. But for us, it was, we have the list of gatherings that are out there, find out who organizes them, and then you essentially put your name in the hat. And because the gatherings are at the same location, they like to rotate the trucks.
Yeah.
It's like advantageous for like the person doing the gathering to bring in new food options, because that's what kind of makes it fun for the people that go to it. So it's really not hard to get into if you just throw your name in the hat, and then it's really just all about scheduling, like when to go to this gathering versus that gathering, or what works in your schedule with your other events. But no, I mean, for the most part, like, most trucks are friendly, want to help, and they work together. So the gatherings are, you could just go to your next truck and be like, hey, where do you guys go Wednesday? Oh, we go to the Mira Mesa gathering, and then, oh, how do I get in? Oh, here's the contact information. So that's really not, hasn't been difficult for us at all to get into gatherings, yeah.
That was a long answer. Very complete.
Was it good? Too long?
No, I don't think so.
Hey, the more the better.
What was it,
What was the hardest part about starting your own food truck?
The build. The build.
You built it. You built your own.
Yeah, we bought a Mack tool truck, and like stripped it all down, designed out a truck, a layout for a kitchen, and a setup that we thought would work for our operation, and then went through all the permitting process through the state of California and then also San Diego County Health Department. Got all that passed and then tried to find a builder. And we shopped the project all around LA. It's where most like the builders are in the States. And there's none in San Diego. So for like Southern California, that's like the option. Mm-hmm. And they're just expensive and, you know, they have a lot of business. So they're not like trying to like sell you or, you know, you have to really want it. And we heard the prices and it's 3-month lead time to where they can even start on it. And, you know, we basically thought that we could outsource the project down here, maybe find a builder to build the whole thing, or maybe just kind of, you know, piece it out. We ended up finding a guy who builds motorhomes, the Airstreams. He like converts them. He felt pretty good about doing the project, said he could do it. He had a sheet metal guy who could make a lot of the cabinetry, the shelves, the counters, stuff like that. And basically the project, it was hard. It was a lot harder than everyone thought. It was a lot bigger. The builder didn't finish it. He left actually like pretty early in the project. And Jacob and I were kind of basically just, you know, stuck.
So a half-finished product?
Yeah, I mean, shit hit the fan for sure. And then we kind of just took a couple weeks and said, okay, like, you know, talked to some other people we had talked to in the beginning, kind of got some advice, and then we just said, all right, well, we're basically just going to have to finish this. So we, but through outsourcing, like not, you know, the work is like, you can't really do the work yourself unless you have major equipment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we kind of just outsourced it, found, you know, an electrician here and a plumber here and a sheet metal guy here. We had a lot of help from friends and family, for sure. Yeah, so for us getting up and going, the build, it took us, 10 months? From like, you know, not like the design phase, which didn't take that long. I mean, it sounds better than it was. We fucking had like a piece of paper and a pencil, you know. But yeah, that part was hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think it was worth it to have custom made it rather than just buying a stock one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And why is that?
There's a lot of benefits to having a nice truck. Well, and one, just for our operation, like we make sausages. So for us, we don't make them on the truck, but for our service operation or our catering, the setup we have a full kitchen on it. So that part is good for us. And I think just having a nice truck, people notice it. We have gotten some gigs from it, doing car shows, doing things where, you know, people kind of, I don't know, appreciate the extra effort that went into it. You know, and we spent a lot of time in it too. Like at the end of the day, like we spent most of the day in it. So for it to be nice and clean and comfortable helps.
So on that note, how many hours a week do you work?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know. I tell people it's not full time, it's all the time.
Okay.
That's how I put it.
And we're 4 months in. I mean,
yeah,
we're 4 months in. You know, we're having to put a lot of systems into place now too. We essentially are, when we were in the initial building phase, we were like talking about the operation and how it was going to work when we were up and running. Once shit hit the fan, it was like all our focus and attention just on the build. for basically the next 8 months.
Yeah.
We'd stop talking about the operation aspect.
Running the business.
Running the
Just
business.
Build the truck.
Just build the truck and finish it. And then we planned a launch party, and then it was like finishing the truck, like the day of type thing, and like the scramble to do this launch party. Basically, it was like overnight. It was, okay, the build is now done. Now you're running a business, and you haven't put that much thought into it. You haven't sourced out your meat, your produce. You haven't set up, any of your purveyors.
You have no accounts. You have no nothing.
You have nothing. I mean, just figuring out the systems. And, we've never done what we're doing sausage production. So we're figuring out, okay, like how much can we make in one day? How much sausage can we make in a day? How long will that last us? And, just all those little things take some time to work out. So in the beginning, we spent a lot of time working them out.
Okay. And I've noticed you've hired some employees. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And has that been a big relief, hiring employees to work the truck for you? Or?
It is. I mean, it's pluses and minuses, like everything. Like, because you have more help, you also have more to manage.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing things yourself, how you want to get them done, you have to take time to show people how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you lose time at first initially, and then
you gain it back.
And then you kind of gain it back. But for this industry and just in general, there's always so many hours in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and you do two services a day, and it's always based on time. Sorry.
Okay.
So like I said, all the time.
It's hard. It's hard to find good help too. I mean, like if you have friends, if you have somebody who is going to, basically just show up, and A, they're gonna show up, and B, when they show up, they're kind of, they're able.
Yeah.
Then that's a big help. But it takes time just to find that. It takes time to find good help that's able and willing.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of training them. And I think you find too, like, I mean, we've hired like a couple people, but I think as so we don't have a big sample size to choose from, but as we get more people, I think, you're babysitting.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend less time doing the things that we like to do, and more time, babysitting, essentially, and just keeping the system running. Like, you basically set up the system, and the prep and the whole operation, everything. You get it all set up, and then you kind of just sit there and basically try to hold it all together.
Yeah, and I would say
how long it takes for that.
I would say too, with the hiring and the hour, to like combine kind of those questions, is like, because this is a business and it's your business, you put so much into it. Not only time, but just like passion, effort,
Emotion.
yeah, all that. And so for the hours, it's the same thing. It's all the time, because anytime you're not doing something for it, you could be, because there's something to be done. Whether it's update your Facebook page or check your website or whatever it may be, there's always like something to be done. So you're always like thinking, and it's the same thing for employees. Like, you have like everything you're putting into it, so you're giving it 110%. And then to bring in people, they're not gonna have that same push because it's not theirs. And it doesn't. I don't think it. Well, it's be very unlikely to find someone like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of that same like struggle as far as like finding the right people and like that will put that much into it, because it's all you have essentially is this business, and so you want to give it your all. And I don't know, finding people that are willing to do that too is tough.
How did you find your employees?
Kind of through connections in the industry. Like, Eric had been working in restaurants, so he knows people that work in restaurants through just having done it for a few years. And then Craigslist. Put ads on Craigslist, yeah.
How long did the certification take? Like, from, I guess, when you submitted your papers, like, how long did that process take?
Well, for us, it was a little different because we built our truck.
Okay.
So our experience was submitting your plans
Mm-hmm.
to the city and the state, whereas if you bought a pre-existing truck, the plans are probably already registered with them, so you wouldn't have to do anything in that regard.
Or you just have to make them.
Or
If you didn't have them,
Yeah,
you
if you
just
didn't
walk
have
in the
them.
truck and you'd
That's
have
what-
to make
that's what
them.
they do.
Okay. Yeah, but as far as, I mean,
From us, it was 11 months.
right.
Right? I mean,
But I mean, I
Start
think
to
for most people, I
finish.
think you just, essentially pay, and then you get inspected and through the health department, and they come on board and check your fridge temp, check your water temp, make sure your surfaces are cleanable and stainless or whatever approved materials. So it just it takes a day, essentially, to get the paperwork through.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, I don't. Does it really take a day? Because
Well, I mean, it takes an hour.
just give them a span of
You-
11
you-
months to a day.
yeah, like
Yeah, it's somewhere between that.
Okay.
Like I said, our experience was designing the plans, submitting the plans. So if you're on that, if you're taking it from stage one, then submitting the plans, it will take about 3 weeks to get those plans back and approved.
Okay.
You have to pay to submit your plans.
Do you remember how much that was?
No, it wasn't that expensive.
$200?
Yeah, a couple $100.
$225, $250?
Something like that. And it's going to depend on what city,
Mm-hmm.
Each city's going to be a little bit different. And then for us, once again, we had to submit it with the state, okay, because housing and community development people check certain aspects of the truck, and the city's health department check certain aspects of the truck.
Mhm.
So we had 2 plan submittals, 2 fees. And then they both take about 3 weeks. Anything with the government is going to take 3 to 4 weeks probably.
Okay.
It's going to be really easy, too.
Or you can always pay more to get it sped up.
Oh.
So if you need it back in a certain time, you can pay whatever the fee and they'll expedite it. But yeah, so that takes about 3 weeks. You get your plans back, and then we took our approved plans, and then went and did our build. And then when you're going for your final inspection, you choose a date, typically 3 weeks or a month in advance. You have to choose your inspection date. Okay, you can't just go there the day of and be like, hey, we want our truck inspected. So you pay the money essentially, and for us it was like $414 to be inspected, and then you get inspected, and the inspection takes, depending on what they're looking for, in between an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay. So let's talk about your menu and how you set up a right-sized menu for your food truck.
Take it away.
Trial by ear.
Take it away.
It depends. I mean, I can only talk about, what we've learned from our truck and our situation, which is different than other people's situations. We make everything we can, everything except the bread. We make our mustards, our sauerkraut, our sausages, our aiolis, pickles, anything we can, we make. So when we and this is essentially the first menu I've designed and implemented. So initially you have the dream. This is back before you know anything. You have the dream, and you have this big beautiful menu. And then pretty quickly we pared it down, basically. I mean, trial by error,
Fast,
like I
after
said,
the first week.
fast. I mean, we had a sandwich that had, it was a 3-way pork sandwich, and one piece of pork was, a 3-day and it's just you're not doing that. And, on the day to day, and it's great that you're selling them, but at the same time, you're like, shit, I got none for tomorrow now. And, so yeah, we kind of just basically figured out a nice balance, between, essentially everything doing what we do. We're Mastiff Sausage Company. We do sausages, we do meat. So our menu is definitely meat heavy, and we try to find a balance. Different cuts of meat, different types of meat, different preparations with those meats. And then also have a balance with the veggie crowd. Have a nice salad and some vegetarian options. And basically just keep it all doable. I mean, that's manageable.
Simple.
Simple. Yeah, keep it all that. That's not gonna happen. It's not going to be simple.
Okay.
it's just one of those things that you have to find a balance between having a great menu and a great truck and having a life, and having that truck also be profitable. The more ambitious you are with your food, most of the time, the less money you make. It's sick, actually, but that's kind of how it works. Should be the other way around. In different markets, if you're in San Francisco, if you're in New York, if you're in Chicago, if you're in any place where people know food and appreciate food, maybe it's different. For us here, certain markets we go to, certain places we go to, we get some good response on our food. Some places we go and I don't know. It doesn't, like, we could just have hot dogs and buffalo wings, like, people, just from Restaurant Depot, and people would like it.
Yeah.
I think just the same. Yeah.
I'd also say with the menu too, like, depends on where you go. So, like, we augment our menu, change it for like a night shift. We're going to apartments, so like the other day we had more of like a dinner plate. Like bison meatloaf, horseradish cream sauce, and mashed potatoes with roasted garlic in it. So it's like that's like a meal. That's like a whole plate. And I'm not serving that to some guy on his lunch break because he'll pass out right after he eats it. So that too. I mean, time, location, all that kind of dictates what you want to do with your menu.
And we're very craft, and there's pluses and there's minuses. And one plus I would say with the menu is there's a lot of not wiggle room, but our menu could change day to day. We make basically our fridges change out every 2 days, except for our sausages. So every 2 days it's like we can just kind of start fresh. We're not committed to anything, and maybe at the beginning of the week, this upcoming week, we have like 2 apartment complexes at night for like a dinner service, and then later in the week we have breweries and then a bike race coming up. So we can kind of have a menu that's appropriate for one service, and then the next day we're able to switch and have a menu that's appropriate for whatever that service may be.
Okay, and how many menu items do you have? Like on an average day?
6.
Okay. How do you price your menu? Like, what does the average item go for?
We sell our sausage sandwiches for $9. And right now we're running 2. We have a classic pork bratwurst, which is kind of like our flagship. Our flagship was that sandwich we were talking about earlier, but that went out the window really quick.
What was
It's
that
kind of
called?
ridiculous. It's
That
called
ship went down.
the 3-way pork sandwich. And we'll still do it for like special events, but I mean, the prep on it was just ridiculous. But yeah, so our sausage sandwich is $9. And everything is basically from scratch. Our bratwurst served with house aioli, house mustard, the brat itself, and then some caramelized onions and bacon. Served on a fresh roll. We get our bread every morning, pick it up from a little spot in Little Italy. And then if we do like a special plate or something, it goes up. We also have salads or some sides. For less.
But learning the price, I mean, we're still learning that, like what to price things at, and have different price points on the menu. Like we don't want everything to be $9, right? So we have this, and we were doing like, you could do a side salad. Like when we first started, you could do a side salad and a big salad, But then we just realized like the side salad isn't worth it. I mean, it's $4, but it's just like in the kitchen, it's hard to get a side salad out. So it's like we got rid of that. Same thing for our chips, which is essentially our version of French fries. Like we had a small and a large size, but just if you put your fryer basket down for a small and then 2 large orders come in, it's just hard logistically. So like a lot of what we've done with our menu and pricing, we've kind of changed to allow like the logistics of the kitchen to function. Mm-hmm. So if you price things at a certain point that everyone buys them, it's not necessarily good. Logistically, getting food out the door. So, and the same thing, we kind of change our prices depending on the events. Like, so for lunch shift, we do offer the side of small Mastiff chips, because it's would bring the ticket up to $12, and it's kind of nice for the person who's at lunch. But when we go to the breweries, we don't do small. Like, we only do $5 large order of chips, which seems to work at those events because a lot of people, they don't want a full sausage. They just want something to snack on. And if they see there's a $3 option, they're going to get it. And they're probably going to be back for more regardless because it's not going to be enough for them. So,
and they're drunk, so they'll eat the
and they're
$5
drunk, yeah, because
like, here, with bacon.
So yeah, we kind of changed our price points, and we're still learning, like, what to do this. Like, what did we run that, like, bison meatloaf for, like that dinner plate? I was like, well, it's got to be more than 11, but can it be more than 15 because it's a dinner? And, so, I mean, we're still learning all that, but it's kind of the thought process anyhow.
Okay. How many people typically work on the truck?
3.
3?
Yeah.
No matter what?
Well, typically it's 3,
okay.
But for larger events like this upcoming weekend...
Now, it used to just be 2.
Yeah, it used to be 2.
Guys?
Yeah.
It used to be just 2. But in the beginning, you're not as busy. I mean, except, I don't know. I mean,
we were busy. Yeah.
Okay, so
3 now.
we have 2 people and our truck is set up a little differently. Again, like, our truck, where you order and where the food comes out happen in 2 different places, and the guy taking your order isn't actually in the kitchen. Most trucks, the person taking your order is in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, if it was just the 2 of us, Jacob would be in the kitchen taking orders, and then he'd also be there to make plates, kind of expo, as we might call it, and send the food out and help the cook, who would maybe just be cooking the food. When the person who's taking the orders isn't in the kitchen, then now that one person in the kitchen is doing the cooking and the plating and the expoing. You're calling out the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's definitely our truck functions best with 2 people in the kitchen, which means we need a third person to take orders because people in the kitchen aren't able to take the orders.
So one person takes orders, one person cooks, and another person dishes out the food?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that cut and dry. One person is basically we have the hotline and we have the pantry station. So one person is on the hotline and they're cooking the sausages, toasting the breads, working the burners if we're doing eggs or whatever we might be doing. And then one person is on the pantry station, so they might be making the plates, making salads, putting a hand in the fryer, or giving a helping hand.
Do not put your hand in the fryer.
Things like that. And also, a lot of it too, it's like in the beginning, you have different cooks come on, you have different people coming in, and the system is kind of always, the system is still working itself out. Let's put it that way. So it's not cut and dry. It's, it changes often.
Every day.
Every day.
How do you use technology to your advantage?
Oh, we have an iPad. It's in a backpack.
You can get
it's
rebated
been there for
it.
like 3 months.
And that's your register, the iPad?
No, actually, we do we do tickets, handwritten tickets, and then I use my cell phone to ring up any credit card sales.
With Square Register.
But I mean, I'm trying to think of other technology.
Website.
Yeah, website, Twitter, Facebook. Could all be done through the phone, for us. Like, I have a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pull that out, to do if we're going to be stationary for a long time. I have a hotspot on my phone. Sometimes it works. And then
what's a hotspot?
Hotspot, your phone essentially becomes like a router, gives
gotcha.
internet.
You're able to use
right,
the internet
gotcha.
on a laptop.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So at laptop and cell phone pretty much takes care of the technology. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Well, I think you were answering it on the, during service type thing, and in the larger picture, technology, I would just say social media.
Social media.
Yeah, social media's got to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the most important. I mean, obviously we do, you know, we have QuickBooks for accounting. What other technology stuff do we use?
I mean, we're on Google. Like, we use Google Calendar. You know, we use Google Docs.
Online banking.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But
yeah, all that.
Yeah.
That's important, man. The
Yeah,
calendar,
for
like,
sure.
yeah, you have to have some system for that, and it's good for us, like, 'cause it's on the web, it could be changed, and it automatically links to our website. So I go to Google Calendar, I'm changing, and that feeds to our website and shows our location all the time. But yeah, social media, website. We do Twitter, Facebook, and our website. That's it. We don't do Foursquare. We don't do,
Yeah.
you know, other
I think
whatever.
that's smart because most people are on those. main
Yeah.
ones.
And we have an Instagram account, you know, so, you know, if we take a picture, we'll load it up through Instagram and make that link through Twitter, because for some reason people like that better than a Twitter link or something, evidently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, that's...
So like every time you're going out, you just publish your location on all those.
Yeah, update your Facebook, send out the tweet. Both those are like, well, our Twitter like goes automatically to our website. So if you are on our website, you'll show like the last 3 Twitter feeds or whatever. And then our calendar on our website is updated through our Google Calendar. So, and we have like a month on our website, essentially just shows our routes. You just have to click on that day and you can see where we'll be at. But yeah, I would say Twitter's like, Twitter and Facebook, people check that the most often. And it's all mobile, right? Like everyone's on their phones now. So like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone's looking at their Facebook or Twitter on their phones and they find us that way.
Why sausage? What made you choose to make sausage instead of taco truck?
Well, Eric loves sausage, that's why.
Sausages are cool, man. Yeah, I think, you know, they're versatile. There's lots of different things you can do with sausages, and there's lots of different sausages you can make. Yeah, it's a type of food I like to cook. It's a type of food I like to eat. From a business perspective, it offers a lot of possibility for future growth. You know, for us, like this truck is great, you know, but it's not the end goal.
What is the end goal?
Well, the end goal is to wholesale sausages. I mean that's one of the end goals, I guess. I mean that's definitely the end goal in terms of like financial goals. Like if we
Okay.
could wholesale sausages, it's, you know, it's easier. It's easier to, I think, sell a product than provide a service. Especially food service. Food services, it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard. It's, you know, and there's no two ways about it. There's no way to do it good and have it be easy. If you're trying to do it good, it's going to be hard. You know, and I don't, you know, I mean, I love it, but do I love it like all the time and long time? You know, I don't think so. You know, so, you know, I mean, from this, obviously, or maybe it's not obvious, but to go to a brick and mortar directly from the truck is a short-term goal, I would say. Yeah, and then from there, it's kind of like, it kind of ends there. Just like get that, maybe keep the truck going, and kind of just, you know, build the brand.
And that's why you branded it as the Mastiff Sausage Company, so you could branch out?
Yeah, we definitely spent time. I mean, you know, our truck took, you know, a long time to build. We had time. That was one thing we had. So yeah, we had a lot of conversations about it, and you know, definitely planned for things. I think if you're not, you know, it's conscious. Like you have to, you know, I mean, to wholesale sausages, it's not an easy thing to get to. You know, there's a lot of, you know, USDA regulations and money and capital, and, you know, there's a lot of obstacles. And I think to, you know, have any legitimate chance at actually getting to that point, you know, you gotta plan that shit out. You know, you gotta sit down and kind of figure out a possible route to take to get there. And yeah, I think we thought about that and definitely thought about the brand when we made the logo, with the name and the slogan. And manliness for fun, is that going to cut off all the female customers? I mean, we talked about stuff.
No one
for
knows
sure.
who you're mocking.
Oh, well, they will.
What are you talking about?
Well, our slogan is manliness refined.
Manliness refined?
Yeah, manliness
Is that
refined.
on the truck?
It's on the truck. It's under our logo.
Okay.
It kind of started because sausages, it's definitely manly.
Yeah.
You take an animal and take a bunch of its meat and mix it with other things and stuff it in its intestines. It's a manly thing to do. And you can definitely, I think, refine that. And so I think the name kind of fits with that and, with the operation in general.
Okay.
Kind of blew it at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Fouls. Yeah.
Well, I got interrupted, man.
So
Lost my train of thought.
I think we're good here. Could you just give a final tip to a person that wants to start a food truck? What would you say to them?
We're not live, are we?
No.
Don't do it. Don't.
I would say
think
first
about
and
doing it.
foremost, just to anybody I'd say who wants to cook or is thinking about going to culinary school, go work in a kitchen for 6 months or I don't know, however long. Same thing if you want to start a food truck, just go and work on a truck. I mean, even if it's one service, just go and do a service and ideally do more than that. Because the service is just one aspect of it. After the service, you come back and there's cleaning, and you need to really spend, I think, a couple days or weeks or months, however much time you have, and kind of just go through it a couple of times and see, okay, is this really something I want to do? And it might be, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people see the glitz and the glamour of the food trucks now. It's on the Food Network.
It's trendy.
It is in that sense, there's a lot of exposure to the trucks and that business now. So it's no longer, oh wait, what do you do? It's everyone knows what food trucks are. So a lot of people do come up and talk to us about the business aspect of it, and they see you at breweries, at special events. They see they're oh, this is would be great. I'm a great home cook. I have great barbecue.
Yeah.
Everyone's told me I should start a food truck. So a lot of people have that perception of it,
And they see the fun thing.
Yeah, they see the fun thing.
Fun.
And what they don't see is, like Eric said, everything behind the scenes. And for us, since we make everything in house, that's full production kitchen. Full commercial kitchen, plus the cleaning, the maintenance of the truck. Which is a whole other aspect of logistics that you have to take on, which a brick and mortar doesn't have the same. They have issues, but just they're different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people look at the trucks and just, like I said, they would see the fun aspect of it, and it is fun. But for
it's fun that isn't fun.
yeah. For a tip to someone who wants to get into it, I would say they need to expose themselves to that other side, because that is the majority of the time. You spend a lot of time getting prepped for a 2-hour service, and then that 2 hours is over and done with, and then you go back and you clean and you restock and you do whatever you have to do, and then you go out again for another maybe 2-hour service. So it's that same thing. It's a lot more time prepping than what people think, and getting ready and the business aspect of it. So, I would think my tip would just be, see it for its entirety and don't just look at the face of it, and then see if it's something you want to get into.
And have consume you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And be ready to work.
Yeah.
Be ready to work.
Like
I said, it's not full time, it's all the time.
What was your view of the food truck industry when you were going into it? When you're yeah, let's get a truck started. What did you think? What was your reason for doing it?
Lack of options.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. That question seems big. What was my reason for starting a food truck, or what did I think it was going to be once I started?
What do you think it'd be like?
I thought it'd be hard. I mean, I thought it'd be a lot like food service. in general, which is hard. The restaurant industry is hard.
So you kind of knew what you're getting into?
Yeah, I worked on a truck for a couple months before we started. And, you know, I didn't see the entire grind. I just saw, you know, an hour before service and an hour of cleanup after service. But yeah, I mean, I fired off as many questions as I could and tried to get as much information as I could. But I don't know, I think we went into it, you know, I mean, optimistic. Like, we didn't go into it thinking we were going to suck or we weren't going to make any money. Mm-hmm. You know, we went into it, you know, to kick ass basically and to make money and to work, you know. I mean, we knew we were getting into a lot of work. Yeah, and I think we were okay with that, and you know, I don't think it's anything really unexpected.
No, it's
like
nothing unexpected.
The amount of work, maybe. I mean, it's, you know, it was the last thing, you know, I did last night, and it was the first thing I did when I woke up this morning, you know, and that's, I would say, you know, more than 6 out of 7 days are like that, you know, and that's a good thing for me. I like it. Some people do, some people don't, I guess.
Okay, so it's rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to kind of finish that off, it's just like we knew it was going to be hard work. Mm-hmm. I just think some people don't know that, and they should, you know, because it's a lot.
It's rewarding, yeah. I mean, shit, like, you know, ownership.
Yeah.
You know, ownership, like owning something, nurturing something, growing it. You know, that's rewarding. You know, and then what we actually do, the job itself, for me personally, is rewarding. Food service. So having the ownership, actually owning the business, and also enjoying the business itself. Sure.
Okay, and where can people watching this find you guys?
In any local grocery store, man. No. Well, you have to be in San Diego or somewhere nearby.
We have a lot of money to have us come to you.
Yeah, exactly. We only get 8 miles a gallon, so we don't travel that far. But yeah, San Diego, and then our schedule changes. I mean, like I said, we do a lot of the breweries and whatnot. We have a few like lunch routes.
Mostly Mission Valley area, UTC area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
but it's
MastiffSausageCompany.com or what's
Mastiff,
your website?
Yeah, www.mastiffsausagecompany.com.
All right.
Yeah, at mastiffsausage.org.edu.
Company
.biz.
spelled out.
.gov. Yeah, company spelled out. There you go.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right on, man.
Cool.